Hi guys, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, in this case showing you the latest Leatherman PS4. The Leatherman PS4 is one of those mini multi-tools that just surprises you by the amount of stuff they were able to cram inside one of these things. It is about 2 inches long, maybe less than 1 inch across and half an inch of thickness. Clearly a keychain kind of multi-tool. Comparing it to car keys, perfectly fitting inside a keychain would be right at home. Yet it has such a surprising amount of little tools inside. Let's start looking at it. Size, of course, is a limitation, and you do get pliers here, which is pretty neat actually. You're not going to be doing any crazy stuff with it. It's not as if you're talking about a charge or wave, which of course has much more capabilities in terms of what kind of nuts it's able to get hold of. Here we're talking about maybe a smaller diameter nut, cutting and bending little wires and such, medium size at most, but don't expect much more than that. It is a keychain multi-tool after all. Still, you're able to strip wires, bend cables a little bit, cut surprisingly well in spite of the small size. Being spring-loaded, it is very comfortable and easy to use as well, right? It is one of those things that just makes it more functional. And in spite of the small size, you're still able to get a nice 2, in some cases 3-finger real estate, right? So in spite of being very small, still very robust and very well built, as you can come to expect from Leatherman, right? Let's take a look at the tools that we actually have in here. Of course, you have a blade. This is just, let's take a look at it. 1.5 inches at most. Not, nothing to, you're not going to be killing a polar bear with this thing, but you do have a blade, and it is quite generous in spite of its size. If I compare it, for example, to one of my very most favorite small ultra compact multi-tools, the Victorinox Mini Champ, and we compare the blades, actually the Squirt has clearly a nicer blade in spite of being of very similar size. Has just a beefier blade. Now it is of course no steel to brag about. This is probably 420 high carbon steel at most. At the most, I doubt they've done anything much better than that. And the grind, it's different from both sides. It's asymmetric, but just a little bit of work with a file and you have a very decent edge in spite of that. So I'm not going to be complaining about the type of grind that it has. As long as it cuts, as long as it takes a bit of use well, that's just fine by me. It is a functional blade for its size, right? For 1.5 inches, this is a very decent blade. And the steel, as we know by now, it's more important if it's properly heat treated than anything else. And again, for the size of a blade that we have here, you're not going to be doing anything crazy. You cannot afford to do that with such a small tool. But still, you have a bit of an edge, you have a bit of a tip in case of doing a small amount of carving, cutting a few strings here and there, chipping a few pieces of wood or whatever. You can indeed do that. Not a locking blade, of course, but still pretty good. The file is very nice for its size. Maybe it would have been better to do a diamond coated file, but guys, we're talking about a $20 multi-tool, a $20 keychain multi-tool. Leatherman does provide a nice multi-tool for the price. It's not the kind of quality, and maybe I should be doing a comparison video at some point between the Mini Champ and the Squirt PS4, but it's not as, you don't have the finesse you have in the Victorinox multi-tool, in the Victorinox tool, but it is still very rugged and very resistant. One size, the other size. Keep looking. The blade, as we saw before. We have, of course, the scissors, which was the improvement from the previous multi-tool in the Squirt series, the P4. I have a P4. I don't have it with me right now. The difference is, of course, that the P4 lacked the scissors that are found in the PS4, and instead of having scissors, it had an awl on one side, and it had a smaller diameter flat screwdriver as well, which I kind of liked a lot. I understand that lots of people just like having scissors, so for them this is clearly an improvement. I just like the owl in the previous one as well. I'm learning to like scissors. I'm used to having scissors in my mini champ. I'm not that crazy about them. You know, I understand for more delicate tasks, which is probably what you would be using a small multi-tool such as this one anyway. For smaller tasks, more delicate stuff, such as finally cutting a bit of thread so as to get it through a needle and that sort of thing, this does come in handy. If you have a little bit of thread from a jacket or a backpack, just want to cut that, this is indeed more useful. Let's keep looking, and it is very well constructed. It is more resistant than the one in the mini champ. Yeah, and definitely I have to do a comparison because there are tools that it's just asking for it. Scissors on one side, and on the other one we have a nice flat screwdriver of medium size, pretty beefy in spite of the size, and bottle opener, cap lifter bottle opener. And on the other side we have a two-dimensional Phillips screwdriver. I've used this one in several occasions lately. Does work well for a two-dimensional Phillips screwdriver. I've used the pliers as well. I've used the blade, which again, just sharpening it up a bit, it does get the job done. For its size, it does work. If you're looking for something very compact, if you're the kind of people that just will not carry anything bigger, by all means, if you're the kind of guy that's just more dedicated to this sort of stuff, like myself, you are going to be indeed much better served with a larger multi-tool, the Charge, the Wave. But if size is a problem for you, and if you are either not going to be carrying anything at all or just having one of these, by all means get it, because it is a tool that will come in handy several times. You know, just having it around, I ended up using it myself on many occasions. My wife, which I usually mention when she shows interest in one thing or another, she just saw it, picked it up, looked at it, and said, "Could you please get me one of these in red?" One of those on the way already for her. So for your wife, maybe someone that is not going to be carrying as much bigger stuff as yourself probably, then this is one of the best options there is out there in terms of very compact, ultra small multi-tools. This would go very well along with a little flashlight such as the one that I showed previously in another video, the Phoenix EO5. These two would go along very well. You know, just these two in your keychain, not a problem at all, not uncomfortable to be in the pocket, and you still have most of your bases covered with these two. So folks, just a little review on the Leatherman Squirt PS4. Nice little multi-tool by Leatherman, about 20 bucks give or take here and there, and definitely take a look. If you're someone that just will not go for anything bigger and you still want to have some of those tools with you at all times, just disappears in the pocket, would go in the little fifth pocket of the jeans, front right pocket, for the little coins. This would just disappear in there very easily, and you won't even notice until you need it. Folks, that's all for now. Take care, have a good day, and see you in our next video.